What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about what the power or ability will be in Life is Strange 3. Now, I believe this was asked of me by Kyra Khan, so I do want to thank him, longtime supporter of the channel. And by the way, this is also where we've been doing this. We started this last week. I've actually been covering Life is Strange way before that. But I want to do kind of a weekly series on Life is Strange. It definitely does seem like, from all the stuff we've heard, that we will be getting an announcement of a new Life is Strange game very shortly, so I kind of wanted to beat the traffic, in terms of talking about the game, and obviously when the game gets announced, we will have plenty more to talk about. But the interesting thing, so I guess what we know, Deck 9 is most likely doing it, could be a spin-off, could be Life is Strange 3, and that is important when talking about the power, and we'll discuss that as the video goes on. But I want to go through a couple ideas. Again, it does depend on the character and depends on, I guess, the scope of the game, but we'll kind of try to nail all the possibilities in this video. As always, make sure if you guys do like this stuff, you're subscribed, you have the bell icon turned on. And if you guys want to join our Discord server, the link for that is in the description below. Loads of awesome people over there. So again, if you want to be part of that extended community, link is in the description. And final thing, if you guys want me to talk more about Life is Strange, like specific topics, definitely continue to let me know in the comments below, and I will try to nail as many as humanly possible that obviously I can kind of talk about. And this is definitely one that I think is worthy to talk about, and one that I think I can. So here's the deal. It depends on if it's a spin-off game or Life is Strange 3. So why? Well, Before the Storm had the talkback feature, remember, from Chloe. Now, I actually kind of liked the talkback feature. It was not time travel like Max had, which is, and that's a separate thing altogether, but let me just quickly say this. Her power, they kind of started with, like, the best thing you can think of. I mean, I guess it does depend. Some people may think, like, invincibility or flying or shape-shifting, and by the way, some of these things are things they could definitely do in the games, which we'll talk about. But time travel, even like someone to me is one of the most like appealing things, like to be able to control time. And now she can't exactly control it, she figures it more out, right, Max, as the games go on. But time travel itself is one of the most powerful things in life, right? If you can control time, that's a very powerful thing. So they started really big, and then with Sean and Daniel, or with Daniel specifically, they kind of copped out to using the Force. So they watched a lot of Star Wars, as we can probably tell, and they just decided that he can move rocks and use Force push and stuff like that. Now, again, keeping in mind, a lot of these are jokes, but also, you guys know this channel, I hated Life is Strange 2. So that's just something to keep in mind as the video goes on, and I'm sorry, and it's okay, by the way, if we have a difference of opinion there, completely cool. I want to love the future Life is Strange games. So, if it's a spin-off game, the talkback, now I'm not saying they would do talkback again, okay? I'm just saying that the idea with the base Life is Strange games is these are like phenomena, and they really are kind of advanced powers that really do not get explained whatsoever. We don't know how they got the abilities. They're both connected to traumatizing experiences, right? Where Max started using it when Chloe was shot, and then Daniel started using it when his father was killed, right? So they both had to have basically a trigger event in order to do it. Chloe kind of just like we assumed she always had it. It was kind of like a trait of her character that she's able to come up with like witty like one-liners or comebacks to people, right? And she always was like that. And then in Before the Storm, they kind of just implemented it into that. Now, they played around with Rachel having abilities as well, right? And they kind of hinted at that and all that good stuff. So there was a little bit of that there. But when it comes to a spin-off game, now again, we've talked about the idea of like Stephanie, who is connected to Rachel and Chloe, and by extension Arcadia Bay, and even potentially Max and all that stuff. So like, while that's a cool idea, what is her ability going to be? To be quite honest with you, I have zero idea. If it's a spin-off game, it needs to be something, I would say, more closely associated with the personality of the person. So again, Chloe was always good at kind of comebacks, at defending her, like, just defending herself through her words, right? In terms of action, she got shot a lot, but in her words, she was actually pretty solid. And so that's what they played around with in Before the Storm. So if you do another spin-off game, I don't know, like, again, I don't think it would be like a talkback thing, but it would have to be something, I would say, pretty simplistic. And again, that I would also argue that goes along with the scope of the game. Before the Storm was a more, I mean, they did go to actually quite a few places, but it was a more condensed journey. It was less episodes. It was, I would say, less at stake. It was obviously building the relationship between those characters and leading into, obviously, the Storm, right, before Life is Strange. So it was more of a more personal journey, more personal connection. You didn't have to have these powers that led to just some massive things like Max's time travel stuff eventually led to either the death of her, her best friend, or the destruction of a city, right? And obviously with the hurricane and all that stuff. So that was a really big thing that was going to happen, kind of tied to her power. But again, it wasn't 1,000% explained. If it was like a 1-to-1, like because she had the powers, this happened. But you have Daniel, right? Now Daniel's didn't really lead to anything. I mean, they could have just stayed. And again, this goes to my issues with Life is Strange 2. They could have just stood there, answered the questions, and they would have been in the exact same situation as they ended up being at the end of the game in certain endings that you got to choose. But no, they had to go on the run and experience, that kind of stuff. But still, him having force abilities, basically, instead of Luke training him and probably failing in the same way he failed with Ben, instead they had to just run away and go on an adventure. Again, if it's Life is Strange 3, well, that I think is the more exciting, possibility, right? Because then you get to play around with, all right, what are some really big abilities that you can play around with? Now, it's tough because I would say the ability that they have is very closely connected to the story that's going to be told, and it has like a big impact on them. I want to say like the ability is more personal, even obviously a larger sense, but I would only say that applied to Max. Really, I didn't really like Daniel. Again, he can move rocks and stuff, and he got very cocky about that. Now he also was just a young kid and all that stuff. But if you were to do a third Life is Strange game, I don't know. I feel like. So I mentioned like flying, which was kind of a joke, but at the same time, you do have to go big. Like again, Max controlled time, or could mess with time. Okay, again, not necessarily control. Daniel could do force stuff. There's flying, there's invincibility, there's what's one thing? I just thought of this right now. Mind control. The only thing I would say more powerful than doing something with time is being able to control other people. Now, technically, you could, inadvertently control other people by messing with time and reality. You could even go with reality. Actually, if you really want, now I just, when I'm recording this, last night, I rewatched Endgame, okay, Avengers Endgame, and about a week or so ago, I watched Infinity War. If you really wanted to do it, you could take the other 5 Infinity Stones. So they've already done time. They've used an Infinity Stone. They could do the other 5. Actually, let me take it back. Power. I get the power. Daniel, I wouldn't say had the equivalent of like the Power Stone, but the Time Stone definitely. So you could use the other ones. There's reality. There's mind. Right? They could do something with that. I mean, the idea to control like the perception of reality and to control what other people see and view, or even how they act. And we're seeing that even like in WandaVision. These are not bad ideas whatsoever. And again, with time, it becomes a thing where it's like, okay, you have and that's kind of the more like characteristic thing I was talking about. Like, you have that ability. That's a big deal. That's something that you have to kind of cope with. And when you make decisions, you are, you have like a ripple effect or a butterfly effect even, right, on other things. And you have to live with the decisions you're making, which is a thing that obviously Max had trouble with, and that was like the whole personal journey she went through in Life is Strange. Life is Strange 2, again, I don't think really did it right, but Daniel did have an ability that made him like a super soldier in a way. Again, they didn't really go down that route, but he did have the ability to be very, very powerful, okay? Now, they didn't really do anything with that, in my personal opinion, but they could have. That's kind of what I would say they should, and I think that's why it worked so well in 1, is because you did feel every time you were doing it, like, especially the endings. All the endings in all 5 episodes of Life is Strange were big. And why? A lot of them had to do with what you did. Like, you made a decision, or you did something with time, and oh my dear God, did it backfire in some way, and now you have to fix it. And those kind of chain reactions were big, and they affected Max, and you could feel it. And that's what made the game so special. Again, that wasn't present at all, in my opinion. I have to keep saying it because I know somebody will have an issue with it. In my opinion, that wasn't there in Life is Strange 2. But if you have the ability to control reality, to control people's minds, anything like that, that would be something I would say that'd be very powerful, because again, that is more of a, you have a lot of power. You have probably more power than you can even like comprehend that that you have. And what you're doing, especially if you kind of go down the wrong road, and because again, like, remember, these are, you kind of make your own decisions. There is a good way of going. There's a bad way. There's probably a gray way. But like, these things are could come back to haunt you, and these are going to have repercussions that you may not even be thinking of. And that's what made the first one special. I feel like that's kind of what they have to do for the third one. So, again, flying, invincibility, being able to, like, control animals or, like, nature. Like, those are kind of things that would be kind of joking, but, like, definitely possible. Shape-shifting, I know I mentioned shape-shifting. Like, that would be, that's obviously going a much, much different way, but it's not impossible to be able to do it. The other ones, again, if you just go the Avengers route, I do think the idea of controlling minds, to me, and now again, controlling minds and also being able to make reality, those are technically kind of two separate things. I guess two separate, you could again, you can kind of bring it back to one specific ability, but they kind of like can branch off from there. Those are definitely things that I would say would be kind of the top of my list. They're very powerful, they're very cool, they've been done before, so you have to do it in a different way to kind of stand out, right, to kind of make your own story, and they have, I would say, the biggest repercussions that you can then use. Because again, like, if I want to play a game where I can use the Force, I'll play Jedi Fallen Order. Like, I'll play a Star Wars game where that's the whole point. I want these abilities to, again, like, have causes and effects to my characters, and that's what Life is Strange. It's literally the title of the game, right? That's what makes it, is that life literally is strange. So, and while they don't say it though, okay? So that's kind of where I take the approach on this. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? What should be the power of the new game? Who do you think the character would be? What do you think the scope of the game would be? All those things, let me know. Again, make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, the bell icon turned on. You guys want to join our Discord server, link for that is in the description below. I'm going to try and do a new Life is Strange video every week. Again, if we get new leaks, new rumors, new info, a new game announcement, all that stuff, I'll for sure cover it, and then we'll have these kind of discussions in between them, okay? Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.